This is episode 45 of Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse. In today's episode, we will be talking about the Grand Floridian Cafe, located on the first floor of the Grand Floridian, next to 1900 Park Fair.
Everything Disney in and out of the house. Two grown-ups and a mouse.
Hi there, I'm AJ.
I'm Andrew.
And you are listening to Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse.
The podcast.
The podcast.
Yeah.
That's why you're listening.
Right.
Unless you're watching, and then it's the video cast.
Right.
The vlog. So glad you found us. Glad you joined us. Glad you subscribed. And if you haven't, why not?
Absolutely.
You should. Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse. Social media. Everywhere. Two Grown-Ups and a Mouse. Our website, twogrownupsandamouse.com.
Right.
So, if you listened to previous episodes, you heard that we went to Walt Disney World, as we often do, for Memorial Day weekend. It was busy, but not as busy as previous holiday weekends have been.
Yeah.
I mean, the same thing happened Easter weekend. We thought it was going to be a little bit busier than it was. We think, though we could be mistaken, this might have the contributing factor for why it's not been so busy. The park entrance one-day ticket rates go up significantly when there are holidays or busier park days. They do raise the prices.
Right. Right.
So it was the 3-day weekend, so they had the more expensive prices. We took a picture of an Animal Kingdom. Wasn't it $137 for one park one day?
I think it was, it was something up there.
135, 137, and that's a little on the expensive side when typically what's a one-day pass? 110, 115?
Well, Magic Kingdom is the most. I think the other ones they're still squeak under 100.
Right. But let's say for argument's sake, even if it's on the high end regular 117 and now you're 135, $20 per person. If you have 4 or 5 people, that's $100 difference. That's a few meals. That's lunch for everybody or dinner for everybody, or depending on where you eat, it could be lunch and dinner if you share food.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it was busy, but it wasn't too busy. We went up Friday night so that we could start enjoying everything on Saturday. And on Saturday, we went to Disney Springs. We spent quite a bit of time at Disney Springs, and we'll be talking about that in future episodes. One of the things we did was we ate at the food trucks, so that'll be an episode in and of itself. That was a good experience. Spent a lot of time there, then went back to go relax, and then you would think since it was just a day or two ago, I would remember this, but where'd we go to dinner Saturday night?
Where did we go to dinner on Saturday?
Oh, okay. So it's not just me. Yeah. So we went out to eat Saturday night, and then Sunday we went to lunch at the Grand Floridian.
Yep.
Quick service. Mm-hmm. Again, another episode. And for dinner on Sunday night, we ate at the Grand Floridian Cafe, which is what we're going to talk about right now.
Yep.
So we actually drove home. Today is Memorial Day. We drove home this morning, hence why the podcast isn't being uploaded until Tuesday. But we're going to start posting on Tuesdays now, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we'll try it, see what happens.
Yeah, so anybody that's used to us posting every Monday, don't be alarmed that we're posting late. We're just changing it. We're going to be posting on Tuesdays.
Right.
This way, when we do go away and we get back, it'll give us a little more time to edit this for you.
That's correct.
So, the Grand Floridian Cafe, it's located on the first floor of the Grand Floridian, as I said in the intro. And if you go on the WaltDisneyWorld.com website, you'll see that it gets $2 signs, which means it runs between $15 and $34.99 per adult for the entrees.
That's right.
And
well, actually, we have the menu pulled up here, and it's actually 16 to 34.
Right. I think they use that as their guide, that's their, they have their
range.
the $1 sign is anything under $15, and, the $3 signs is anything $35 and up. So
this one covers the full gamut then.
Yeah, exactly. And we started with the house breaded fried mozzarella with tomato jam and grilled artichoke relish. Did you like it?
It was good. It was. I thought it would have been a little. It tasted like a typical fried mozzarella.
But there were only 2 pieces.
They were only 2. But they were a good size.
Well, they were about the size of a slice of tomato. If you took a medium-sized tomato and cut a slice out of it,
right,
that's pretty much how the fried mozzarella was.
Yeah, 2.5 inches, 3 inches square.
And it was funny because they served it with artichokes. Mm-hmm. I don't hate artichokes. I do eat spinach and artichoke dip, and I enjoy that very much.
Right.
But when I look at artichokes, they kind of have a very dull color, so they don't look that appetizing to me. But because it was on the plate, I decided to try it, and they did serve the artichokes with a nice thick balsamic vinaigrette, and it was very tasty.
Sure.
And I said to you, I was like, I'm not going to eat this. I said, this is actually enjoyable, but I knew I wanted dessert, so I didn't want to fill up on anything.
Right. Sure.
And I actually wanted to try the seasonal heirloom apple salad, which is organic baby lettuce, heirloom tomatoes, sharp cheddar, pecan brittle, and crispy prosciutto with honey apple vinaigrette, which sounds really good.
You said heirloom tomatoes. It's actually heirloom apples.
Oh, sorry. Heirloom apples. I'm tired. We drove home today, and that makes you really tired being on the road. So yeah, I wanted to try that, but I did not because, again, dessert was more important.
That's right.
I was basically eating everything knowing that I wanted to get dessert at the end. So
that's right.
What can I say? Some of the entrees that they have are a lobster thermidor burger, which is lobster Parmesan thermidor sauce on the burger. They have grilled pork chops, miso glazed salmon, buttermilk fried chicken, and more. You want to talk about the fried chicken? We didn't need it.
No, but it looked like an enormous piece of chicken on top of the side, which is the way the guy described it was a crispy potatoes, kale, bacon, and sriracha honey drizzle, kind of all mixed together. But the piece of chicken that was on it was quite large. So
one of the servers brought 2 servings out to another table, and we're watching him bring it by, and we're like, that looks really good. Yeah. So then when he walked back towards us, we're like, what is that? And he's like, oh, that's the fried chicken. Right. He described it to us, and we thought we should have gotten that.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That looked really tasty.
I saw one of the lobster burgers as well, and it's basically just a typical burger, but they had some actually a good chunk of lobster sitting on top of it as well. So if you want kind of a low rent surf and turf, there you go. Right.
Well, I got the sirloin steak and scallops because, and we've definitely talked about this before, I really enjoy scallops, and they do prepare them pretty well at Disney. Right. This came with 3 scallops and a nice portion of the sirloin steak. I had ordered it medium rare, and it seemed to be prepared properly. Mine came with cheesy potato gratin, asparagus, and on the steak was a scampi butter sauce and some roasted tomatoes. I pulled the roasted tomatoes off. I don't mind them on like a pizza, but I'm just not a big fan of roasted tomatoes. And I did take a bite of the steak with the butter sauce on it, but I didn't think it really added anything necessarily. Right. So I blotted that off. But I'm sure that in the cooking, it probably helped.
Yeah, probably.
You know, that's why as much as I don't like something, sometimes I'll order things the way they come so that they can prepare it and it can infuse into the flavor. But then I'll just take it off when it gets to me.
Sure.
So that's pretty much what I did. And what'd you get?
Well, I got the New York strip, which was New York strip. It's probably a 12 to 14 ounce piece. And it comes with mashed potatoes, which they call smashed sour cream and chive red bliss potatoes. Some roasted onions, broccolini, and a house-made steak sauce. It was very light on the sauce on mine. Actually, on yours as well. There wasn't that much on it.
No, the butter, the scampi sauce, which is basically a butter sauce, it wasn't too much, but
right. I mean, we've had steaks at Disney before that were drowning in it, which is they don't do that often. So which is good because a good steak really doesn't need a lot. The potatoes were good, sour cream and onion type flavor to it, but it still was mashed potatoes.
Yeah, I really liked my potato gratin that I got, and the asparagus. I mean, everything was prepared well.
Right.
But again, it's not that I wasn't hungry, because I was, but I ate half, maybe more than half. But I definitely didn't finish my meal because I knew the desserts looked really good.
It's not even, because you ate probably about half the potatoes.
Yeah.
Give or take. About half the steak. You ate all the scallops. You had half of maybe your asparagus.
I don't even think I had that much.
Maybe a third. You had about maybe a third of my broccolini.
Yeah, I grabbed a piece or two of yours.
Yeah, and then you saved the rest for dessert.
Right, because I didn't want to fill up, and I think we've also talked about this before. I mean, ordering off of the kids menu can be a great idea sometimes, because you can, if you know that there's a dessert you want but you don't want to fill up, so either getting an appetizer or two or ordering off the kids menu, you can really get some of the flavor of the restaurant without filling up too much, and then you can enjoy everything. And with our meals, you didn't get a wine this time. When we go to Janssman, you usually get a red wine.
Well, that's a little different because that's a really good piece of steak.
Right,
so.
but you had a gin martini.
Yeah, I did have a martini beforehand. A martini is actually really nice before dinner. It's a palate cleanser, for the hoity-toity type. So, but yeah, and then the way they made it was really good. It wasn't overpowering. Sometimes they don't know how to mix them, and they actually did a lemon peel in it instead of olives.
Right.
So it actually, which is basically how I would like it prepared. So
right. So shout out to the
bartender.
The bartender.
Right.
Shout out to the bartender.
I don't have a shout out, so.
Oh,
here.
I thought you had an applause.
Oh wait. Yeah, I do have that.
Thank you. My goodness. I'm going to tell him he needs to move the soundboard closer to me so I can do a shout out to the bartender.
Yeah.
Shout out to the bartender.
Is that the secret word?
Well, since I'm pointing at the soundboard.
If you say the word "I don't know," can I have some green slime fall on your head?
That's Nickelodeon, not Disney.
Oh, we'll get sued.
I did get an alcoholic beverage also. I got a rum swizzle,
right,
which was a very sweet drink. I do tend to drink sweet drinks, and that was really tasty. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that very much.
Right,
I had that with the meal. We also had some sodas with our meal. So the what I like at this restaurant is they have a few enhancements that they range from $10 to $11, so not on the expensive side.
Right.
Their current menu as of Memorial Day weekend, because sometimes the restaurants will change their menu. They'll do it on occasion.
Sure.
Currently, they have a 2-ounce poached lobster, a shrimp skewer, or a scallop skewer.
Right.
So, had I not wanted to get the sirloin steak, I could have just gotten the scallop skewer.
Well, or you could have gotten, like you said, you often order from the kids menu, so you could have gotten
the kids steak.
There's a kids create your own entree is basically, so they have a shrimp skewer, a beef skewer, a salmon, a cheese flatbread. So you could have gotten like a beef skewer, and you could have had basically the same thing, probably just at a much smaller size. So.
And the kids' entrees run from $10 to $15.
Right.
So again, we don't have kids, so it's not as important to us, though I do often order from the kids menu. It's good to know if any of our listeners have children that, $10 to $15 isn't bad, especially at Disney, because the kids' entrees typically come with an appetizer and a main course.
Yeah.
Or if they don't come with the appetizer, meaning like a soup, or they'll come with.
Well, there's a kid's appetizer.
One or two sides.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And
so, like here they have chicken noodle soup, fruit salad, and a cucumber and tomato salad. So.
And they're all $3.
Yep.
So, yeah. So not too expensive, even if your kids want to eat a few things.
Right.
What we were looking forward to for dessert was we got the chocolate fondue, which... chocolate sauce?
Well, no, I mean, it wasn't just
like
plain,
a standard fondue.
No, it wasn't a fondue where they brought out like a pot and a heat source and that kind of thing. Like if you've ever gone to Melting Pot and had the dessert there, that's a real fondue. Here they brought basically the same kind of chocolate, but it was pre-warmed.
Right.
Right. So and it's obviously a lot less because it was
$8.
It's only an $8 dessert, which is a fantastic value, all things considered.
Well, all of their desserts were $4 to $8, except for they do have a 2-person dessert sampler there, which I thought was really nice, and that was $12. Definitely something we could look into the next time we go. But the chocolate fondue they served with marshmallows, pineapple, pound cake, bananas, and strawberries.
Right.
I don't think either of us touched the pineapple.
I did have a piece of pineapple, but I'm not a big fan of it. Neither of us are big fans of strawberries, so I don't think we had any of those.
You mean marshmallows?
Or the marshmallows, yeah.
Yeah, I ate all the strawberries.
You ate all the strawberries.
I ate all the strawberries and all the bananas. No, you had a half of a piece of a banana.
I had a piece of banana, and then I ate all the pound cake, which wasn't, well, they call it angel food cake, so it's not actually pound cake. So.
Oh, that's why it was falling apart.
Yeah.
They should change it to pound cake because that really fell apart.
It did, but
pound cake's a little bit thicker.
It was, but overall, it was pretty good. So,
yeah, the flavor was enjoyable, and I thought that the dessert price was really good.
Yeah, for $8, it's a good value.
Even better value was the other dessert we ordered, which was the Mickey Dome.
That's right.
That was only $4.
Yeah, $4.
And it was. Look, he's magnetic. Anybody that's watching us, I have a.
Are you about to describe something with your hands again?
A little green man on my microphone stand. But this little green man fits, in the palm of my hand, kind of like a tennis ball size, give or take. A little bit smaller than a tennis ball.
I don't know where you're going with this, but the Mickey Dome was actually much bigger than a tennis ball.
You think so?
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually probably about softball size.
No, I didn't think it was that big. Cut in half, maybe.
It was about that big around. Yeah.
Yeah, softball cut in half.
Right.
Okay. And I was saying like the whole thing was probably the equivalent of a tennis ball.
But that's okay.
Semantics?
Sure.
Alrighty then.
I'm always up for semantics.
Yeah. So anyway, the Mickey Dome is made of a cookies and cream mousse, but it was a soft chocolate outside. It wasn't like a fondant or anything.
No, it wasn't a fondant. So it was a chocolate sauce kind of covering.
Right.
And then 2 chocolate ears and a chocolate tail.
And there were 2 yellow, like M&M type candies.
Right.
For the buttons. And then they served it with the raspberry sauce.
And some whipped cream.
Right. Oh, and a Mickey face whipped cream.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but that was only $4. So I thought that was a really great value. And we've said this before, and we'll say it again. If we were talking about anything and you're like, wow, that dessert sounds really good. You're allowed to make reservations to go to a restaurant and just get dessert.
That's right.
So,
that's right.
You can, and along with dessert, I got cappuccino because they had cappuccino, espresso, all the typical accompaniments that they would have, for dessert, the drink choices. Sure. So, and the cappuccino was good. I was a little surprised. Well, first of all, our server wasn't bad. She wasn't the best because she brought me a cappuccino and no spoon.
Well, I think she appeared to be a little overworked because she was rushing around a lot.
Maybe that's what it was.
So
I mean, it wasn't a big deal because she brought me a fork, but I was like, I kind of expected a spoon.
Right.
Just because it's not the highest level, it's not a signature dining restaurant, so it's not the highest level, but still it's, it's a $2 sign, so it's not the cheapest. So
it's at the top of that middle tier.
Yeah. So I was a little surprised, because some of the other restaurants, when you get a cappuccino, they'll bring you out like the sugar crystals. There's another word, rock candy.
Right. Yeah.
They'll bring you out a rock candy stick of sugar. So I didn't care that I didn't get the rock candy because I don't use them anyway, but I was a little surprised I didn't get a spoon and I got a fork to stir my coffee with. So that was a little bit unusual. Yep. But the coffee itself tasted really good. And like all the restaurants, they do have a no sugar added dessert. There it's the berry pyramid. They have a full bar. As we said, we did order drinks, and we believe that they've been standardizing the menu for the bar.
Yeah, it used to be when you go into every restaurant, they would have their own specialty drink in each restaurant. And here, and we've noticed this for a while. There's the menus are all basically all the same, but put in their own branded folder kind of thing.
Right, like the cover of because they have a separate drink menu, and it's pretty extensive, and you name it, they're pretty much all in there.
Right.
That was where I saw the rum drizzle, but I thought it replaced the Bahama Mama, but then when we looked in the menu, we saw, oh no, the Bahama Mama is still there as well. So it's, they really ran the gamut of the drinks that are available, which was nice.
Right.
So,
and we didn't really mention a lot of this, but the Grand Floridian Cafe is open for breakfast and lunch.
Right, but we mainly talked about dinner because that's what we partook in was the dinner menu. Right. But yes, they are available.
And it looks like they might be open for like a brunch, because if you look at the lunch menu, there is bacon and eggs and eggs Benedict. Steak and eggs, so there's a few pancakes.
If you go
French
back,
toast.
Go back a page on the menu.
So, but it's breakfast is the typical 7 to 11, lunch is 11 to 2,
right?
And
then
dinner is.
But since it's only 11 to 2, that looks like a brunch.
Right, especially because there's no break in between breakfast and lunch, so it might be.
Yeah, their lunch is more of a brunch menu, definitely. Right. And again, we're looking on the WaltDisneyWorld.com website or My Disney Experience website. You can access the menus if you want more information on the Grand Floridian Cafe that we are talking about. The ambiance there was really nice also.
It is a nice restaurant, and it's what's in the lower level, as we said, of the Grand Floridian, kind of back in the, as you're walking in, you kind of turn to the left at the end and you'll basically run right into it. It's kind of a bright and cheery-ish.
Well, there's a lot of windows.
Yep.
So you could see the architecture of the other buildings, and that is a beautiful architecture at the Grand Floridian. It's very Victorian style.
Yeah.
So it's really something pretty to look at. And I could see a topiary for my seat because we had walked around earlier in the day. We saw the swan topiaries. So I could still see that. And if you do decide to dine there, definitely plan for either before or after your meal to take a walk around the property, and don't just walk in the main building because, for example, Narcoossee's.
Right.
Is that signature dining?
That is signature dining.
And that's located near the boats, near where the boats take off to bring you to Magic Kingdom.
Is it? Yeah, it's $3 signs.
Right.
So
you'll want to walk around and experience the other things on property. You definitely want to go into the stores. Right now they're undergoing some renovations. So the second floor, there was a men's store that's currently undergoing some renovation, but they still have the typical, I'll use my air quotes, Disney store on the second floor that has like a little bit of everything geared more towards kids and jewelry almost.
Well, that's always been their the downstairs is a lot of the foods and snacks and a little bit of hotel merchandise.
Well, Grand Floridian is considered DVC, or part of it is.
Well, that new building that they put up, a number of years ago now.
Right, but the newer building.
That's DVC. The rest is just a hotel.
And whenever there's a DVC, they make sure that they have more, again, air quotes, real food.
Right.
They'll have a refrigerated section where you can get food that you can put in your refrigerator in your room.
Right, and food that you can prepare. So they'll have eggs, and they'll have things to make sandwiches, et cetera, et cetera. So as opposed to
right. So the one small store, as you're past it when you're going towards the restaurant, it's a very small store. They have the food there, but they also do have a decent selection of DVC clothing. They had Dooney DVC purses, and some other knickknacks, some kitchen essentials. For a small store, they actually fit a lot of merchandise in there, which is really nice.
Sure.
So I found a little knickknack for a little memorabilia type ornament that we got in there. They have an assortment of pins in there. So if you're going to go dine at the restaurant, definitely make sure you plan with your itinerary that you'll have time to go look at the stores and go look at the architecture and go look around the property, because even with the renovations they're doing, it's still a beautiful property.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So while we were there, they had a full band playing.
Yep.
So, I mean, sometimes they just have a pianist, but I feel like they had the full band playing to kind of distract you from what was going on the second floor.
You can look online, you'll see the schedule of when the band is playing and then when the pianist is there. So.
Right. But it was really nice, and you can get to the Grand Floridian by car, by Uber or Lyft.
Yep.
I believe the preferred vendor is Lyft, the minivans,
Right.
Or Mears Taxi. You can get there by monorail, or you can get there by boats.
Right. You can get there by boat from Magic Kingdom or the Polynesian.
Right. So if you are staying on property but not at one of the monorail resorts,
Right.
basically you could take a bus over to Magic Kingdom.
Correct.
And then, just make sure you get on the resort monorail line and you'll be able to get there easily. I mean, Disney is really great about making it easily accessible.
That's right.
So on that note, we've been talking about food and it's now dinner time.
It is.
So I want to go make some dinner for myself. But thank you for listening and or watching if you're watching our video of this.
That's right.
And as we said, we will be posting new episodes on Tuesdays instead of Mondays. So that's why we're a little bit late today. We hope everyone had an enjoyable Memorial Day weekend. We did, on our drive home, we did end up going past the beach and it was crowded.
Yep. It's a holiday.
But it was crowded. We passed one inlet where they have a beach at the inlet, and there were 20 to 30 cars waiting to get in.
Right, because it's either a state or a local park.
Right.
So they limit the number of people that come in. So yeah, there was probably 20 or 30 cars sitting there. And then as we drove by, I told you to look over, and that whole little beach section was just
Crowded.
a mass of people.
And then the boats.
And then out in the water, there was a enormous raft up. So
There were a lot of boats.
there were.
But it is dinner time now, so I'm going to go make myself some dinner. Maybe I'll even cook something for you if you're lucky.
Thanks, but no.
See what I get?
We saw somebody try to make alphabets the other day, and
I can't boil water.
well, sure.
On that note, thank you again for listening, and make sure to subscribe, make sure to rate and review, make sure to send us feedback, give us suggestions, and I will say good night.
Or good morning.
Or, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Or just goodbye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.